Welcome to the Evolving Past Alzheimer's podcast, where we are focused on bringing you information to help prevent from developing and improve from suffering with brain diseases like Alzheimer's and other dementias. I'm Dr. Nate Bergman, a physician and Chief Scientific Wellness Officer at Kemper Cognitive Wellness, and I'll be your guide on these sound waves. So whether you're a baby boomer who's worried that your brain wiring just isn't working like it once was, or you have a loved one with the disease, or you yourself have already been diagnosed and are wondering, what do I do now? You'll want to listen to this podcast. Each episode, we introduce you to the top doers and thinkers that are revisioning Alzheimer's, dementia, and just generally things in life's second half. If you have questions or comments, check us out on social media. To support us, go to patreon.com/evolvingpast and consider hitting the button and becoming a patron of this show if you find these episodes valuable. That's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/evolvingpast. So here we go. Let's get better. Welcome back to the show. This is Nate Bergman, your host on the Evolving Past Alzheimer's podcast. I'm excited to announce an exciting transition in my life, as I am now acting as the Chief Scientific Wellness Officer at Kemper Cognitive Wellness. Me and my family are still here in Cleveland, Ohio. For those of you that want to come visit us here, I will tell you more about what we are doing at Kemper Cognitive Wellness in future episodes. Exciting stuff for sure. So that's what's up in my life. Sorry to be out of touch and out of content for so long, but we are back up and running for season 2. I want to introduce you to some terminology that will be coming up in the next several episodes, just to whet the appetite a bit so everyone has a sense of what's coming in season 2. First couple ideas are neuromodulation and neurostimulation. These various devices and techniques have evidence to improve a variety of states of mood and cognition using energies and frequencies, and we'll talk a bit about them. The next concept is something that probably our longtime listeners are familiar with, scientific wellness. We had an episode back in season 1 with Nathan Price early on, like episode 3. It was one of my favorite episodes. Scientific wellness is the idea of personalizing your data to optimize and program to be your best and most healthy self. When it comes to brain and body, there are, based on the concepts of P4 medicine, which have really been put forward by Lee Hood, is the Institute for Systems Biology. This type of medicine is a P4 approach, and it really distinguishes itself from contemporary healthcare in the sense that contemporary healthcare has a tendency to be reactive, and the primary distinction here with P4 health is that it's proactive, and it's focused not only on disease, but the drivers of wellness, and it's highly individualized. And whereas contemporary healthcare really focuses more on an average patient and average patient population, this is really highly personalized, potentially getting multiple scales of biological information and to create things like dense, dynamic, personalized data clouds. And if you're interested in those, I do encourage you to go listen to Nathan Price's episode back in season 1. So that's the idea of scientific wellness. The next couple of concepts are neuropsychology and dual tasking. So neuropsychology, probably everybody is familiar with, and we're going to interview a couple of neuropsychologists, and that'll be interesting. It's essentially the study of the brain and mind, but dual tasking is kind of an emerging concept, ways to optimize function of both brain and mind through training methodology that combines physical exercise and cognitive tasking or cognitive training. So that's really interesting what's coming out about that. And finally, I would like to talk about just general concepts in the second half of life. That's really my personal interest in exploration. I mean, what are we really doing here? And when do we start to encounter these types of questions, or really as we mature in years? I think I don't have to tell most of my listeners that. Most of my listeners are probably more mature in years than I am, perhaps. I recently went to a breathwork workshop in the Pocono Mountains with 3 facilitators and 9 participants. Most of the participants were 60 years old plus, and it led to some very interesting conversation of what Bill Thomas refers to as the senescent phase of life. This kind of elusive time from age 50 to 65-ish is really a fragile time in which really it's kind of awkward, sort of like the adolescence piece is in our lives. This is the senescent piece, but really isn't viewed with reverence, generally speaking, or really isn't viewed in a positive light. But it is possible to have an aging body and a soaring spirit, according to these thought leaders. I recently had a conversation along those lines with an amazing 89-year-old friend of mine. So she's a spiritually oriented Catholic person, big family. And we talked about sexiness and the body at that age, and explored what it means to have an aging body, and aging limbs and aging organs, but an ever-growing mind and spirit. And so that's worth sharing. And then lastly, I want to tell you what happened to my brother-in-law. It's an end-of-life story that I bring up because I think it's something that we need to talk about. When he went back to be with his grandmother for her last days. So her grandmother was 98 years old and really just called her family members around on the phone and said, "I'm feeling tired." She was aware that it was her end. She lost her appetite slowly and stopped eating and didn't really talk much, really just was slowing down and would talk very infrequently and end up passing away with her family and friends near her side in peace. But she would often credit her longevity, age 98, to waking up every day, getting dressed, full makeup, jewelry, even when she was essentially blind at her end. And that's kind of amazing. In the last week, she said, and she had, her husband of, I think, over 70 years or something had passed away within the last 5 or 6 years. And so this woman said to my brother-in-law, "Your grandfather has come for me so many times recently, but he won't take him with me yet." And I was just so touched by that there was still that level of connection, and who knows what exactly that might be worth exploring too at some point. And her only day she didn't get out of bed was her last day. So just it's an amazing kind of a story I wanted to share about an end of life. So I hope you'll join us for season 2. Had many people ask me what happened to these podcasts. And the simple fact is, with 5 kids, a new position at work, and life, it just takes an enormous amount of time and energy to consistently publish these podcasts. If you would please consider going to patreon.com/evolvingpast. It's Patreon, P as in Pat, A as in Apple, T as in Tom, REON.com/evolvingpast, and supporting the show. This would go a long way to helping me pay for the web hosting fees and the virtual assistants I need to help to continue to bring quality content and find great guests to speak with. So I hope you'll enjoy season 2 of the Evolving Past Alzheimer's podcast. Let's get better together. So that's our episode. I hope it was useful to you. Check out the show notes on iTunes or on our website where we've summarized the key points. If you find the information here valuable, please consider giving us a 5-star rating on iTunes and leaving comments in the comments section. It will really help us bring this message to as many people as we can. If you have questions or comments, connect with us on social media. Finally, to support us, go to patreon.com/evolvingpast and consider hitting the button and becoming a patron of this show. That's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/evolvingpast. Thanks, and talk to you next time.